This is an intro. Who needs an intro? I don't need an intro. This is just a vape show. It's just a vape show. Vape show. This is an intro. Who needs an intro? I don't need an intro. This is just a vape show. It's just a vape show. Vape show.
Well, YouTube, today we're building some alien coils for the Goon RDA. Yeah, the Goon RDA, as in Blue-Eyed Goon himself. The guy that invented the alien coil came out with a new RDA called the Goon. The inventor of the alien coil being Blue-Eyed Goon 83 on Instagram. We're going to go ahead and throw alien coils in that deck for the first build. I can't wait. Now, an alien coil. What is an alien coil? The best way for me to describe an alien coil to you, if you've never seen one before, if you have no idea what this is to go get a phone cable, a telephone cable, the kind that's spiraled around, and go ahead and wrap that around your hand. Take 3 fingers and wrap it around your hand. And you're going to see how that telephone cable kind of wraps in this wave. You'll see. That's an alien coil. The way we're going to make it is we're going to create a clapton coil, a light strand of wire spun around a thicker gauge of wire. Then we're going to decore that wire. We're going to stretch it out. So we're going to go ahead and re-clapton that onto 3 cores of wire the opposite way. And it's going to create that unique wave kind of effect of an alien wire. So for this build, what we're going to need is our drill, of course. We're going to need a vise. We're going to need some swivel tools. And of course, we'll also need our screwdrivers. We'll need our ceramic tweezers. And we're going to be building on a Coil Master today. I just got picked up the Coil Master over at Vapor Slam. It was awesome. And we're going to be using that today too. We're going to need some 28 gauge is what we're going to use for our cores. It's going to be a 3-core alien. And we're also going to need some 36 gauge for our alien clapton wire. We'll be building with nichrome today. I like nichrome. It's got a good fast ramp up. I feel like it's very malleable wire. I just like using nichrome wire personally. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take a strand of 28 gauge. I like to measure about 3 times around the spool. That's how I measure for my alien coils. Now we're going to take that wire and we're going to go ahead and mount one end of it in the chuck of the drill, and the other end we're going to stretch out with our pliers, and we're going to go ahead and just spin that wire for a few moments just to straighten it all out. Now that we've got our wire all straightened out, we're going to mount the other end of this wire into our swivel tools. This is going to make it easier for us to go ahead and clapton up that wire. And what we need to do is clapton pretty much the whole length of this wire from the end of the chuck all the way over to the end of the swivel tools. Normally, what I will do when I'm claptoning is I like the drill rotating away from me. I guess that would be clockwise is how I like to rotate the drill, away from me. Now when I'm aliening though, I like to alien the way that I'm going more comfortable. So it makes more sense for me to go ahead and clapton the way I'm less comfortable so I can alien the way I'm more comfortable, because aliening is much more difficult than claptoning, trust me. Yeah guys, what can I tell you? I mean, claptoning is boring. I mean, what I do when I'm building claptons, eventually I just kind of daze out. Sometimes I've got television going on in the background while I'm claptoning. I mean, claptoning can be kind of boring because, especially when it's a long strand like this, you just kind of got to hold it there and just keep on going. I mean, your hand kind of cramps up holding the drill after a while and just get on through it. Are you still not done yet? Coming up on the end here, I'll go ahead and cut the wire short before it gets to the end of the wire that's on the swivel tools. We don't want it to get all the way to the end here. This is one of those tricks I picked up along the way, because if you make it go all the way to the end, decoring the wire is not fun. It's really, really difficult to decore the wire if you go too far. Maybe leave, I don't know, 1.5 inches, 2 inches at the end of that wire that doesn't get claptoned. Okay, it'll make it a lot easier to decore the wire in a moment. I want to say it was M Turk's video where I saw this. He has a channel called Pristine Builds. He's another amazing builder. He's another one that can build an alien coil in about 10 minutes flat. Take that section in your pliers, the section behind the clapton wire but between the spools. Go ahead and hold down on that, clamp down with your pliers, and let the drill fire for a few. And what that's going to do is it's going to break up that friction between the outer wire and the core wire a bit. It's going to make it a lot easier to slip off. You see how easy this wire comes off the core wire now? So much easier, guys. So much easier. That is a huge time saver. It's also a wire saver because I don't end up messing up my wire in the process. I can still use that core wire to make the alien coil. Now the next thing we need to do is stretch out this decored clapton wire. Now the way I like to do that is go ahead and anchor one end down into the vise, take the other end of the pliers, and go ahead and stretch it across the room. Now, this is something that gives people a bit of a headache. People have a hard time grasping sometimes how far they should stretch the wire, just how taut the wire should get when they're stretching it so that it creates that alien pattern. I'll show you what it looks like when I'm done making it, but the best advice I can give you is to go by feel. Going by feel, it's like you stretch it until you feel a bit of resistance, because it'll just stretch out and stretch out and stretch out without a problem, pretty much for me all the way till the end of the room. And then I pull just a little bit harder and I feel that it's taut. And yeah, I can pull more, but if I do that, I'm going to pull out that sort of spiral pattern that wire is creating. And I know that I don't want to do that any further. Kind of like with the telephone cable again. If you take a telephone cable, the old ones from the rotary telephones, for example, and pull them, you're going to see how that wire stretches and stretches freely and then gets to the point where stretching it any more is going to ruin that sort of spiral pattern. That's kind of how far you want to get with it. No further than that. You don't want to mess up that sort of spiral. And then what I like to do is go ahead and take the wire, take a spare spool that I have laying around, because I always have spare spools and they come in handy. My spare spools, I never throw them out. They come in handy when I'm making wire like this. So we're getting there. We created our clapton wire, we decored our clapton wire, we created our stretch clapton wire that we're going to re-clapton in a moment. That's all easy. Here's where the fun starts, okay? We need to go ahead and set up 3 cores in this chuck. And we need to do it in such a way that it's going to be optimal for us to re-clapton the wire back on. Now, traditionally, what's done here is to take that original core wire and cut it into 3 equal pieces. If you don't want to use the swivel tools anymore, you can. I suppose you still could do it with the swivel tools that way, but it's not as clean, not as easy to set up. What I like to do is take that original wire, go ahead and fold it in half through the swivel tool, and then with that measurement in mind, cut a 3rd piece of wire. So with that 3rd wire cut, I'll straighten it out in the drill really quick. Then I'll go ahead and fasten it onto the swivel tools. There's a little hole that's created, by the top of that 3rd wire on the swivel tools, and I'll sort of thread that original wire through it. Then I'll go ahead and stretch them all out together, running it between my fingers nice and tight to make sure that the wire isn't crisscrossing or anything like that. Clip off any excess. What's traditionally done here is to fold each one of these in one of 3 directions so it lines up to the 3 openings in the chuck, and put 1 strand of wire in each one of those openings. It works, but I always felt like sometimes what happens is that I'll drop it while I'm doing that, or it'll spin a little bit while I'm setting that up, and then it makes the wire very hard to reorientate the right way. So what I'll actually do is only bend two of them. I'll bend the left and the right core wires instead and leave the middle one straight. That I feel has been the easiest way for me to get this situated into the chuck usually. It just makes it go in a little bit more easily. It makes the wires a little bit less of a challenge to place because I want those wires good and tight together. I have a very specific way that I place the wires into the chuck, and it helps me get from one end to the other without that wire spinning on itself, because if that wire spins on itself, it's pretty much done. You messed up the wire. Now starting out the wire, starting out the alien, I like to go very, very slow. And now the key here, which took me a long time to figure out, is not to apply any pressure pretty much whatsoever to the decored, stretched clapton wire. I don't want the wire sagging or drooping, of course, because then it's going to be a big mess, but I don't want to give any tension to this wire, because if I give it too much tension, what's going to happen is it's going to cause those three core wires to spin on themselves. That's what gave me the hardest time with alien wire, holding the spool in place. That's all I'm doing. The other thing is, once I alien about an inch on, I'll go ahead and sacrifice that first inch, and I will take my pliers and give it a good squeeze. Now this will really mess up anything that I've already made. Like that first inch is going to look kind of crummy now, and I won't use it. But if I sacrifice that first inch, take the pliers, and with the smooth end of the pliers here, clamp down really, really hard, it sort of locks those three core wires into the correct placement so that they're even less likely to spin on each other and twist. And that I've found was kind of the last key in making sure that the wire didn't twist on itself. Once I got that far, aliening became a lot easier. I've noticed that if I keep going slow, I'll screw up, and that wire will start to back on itself sometimes. Like I'll overthink it, and then the wire will back up on itself. And I have to remember to breathe too. Sometimes I forget to breathe. But it's not like it is with a clapton wire, okay? With a clapton wire, if you back up on yourself a little bit by mistake, you can pull it on out and it's going to be fine. Same thing with reef wire when we made reef wire that time. It's a very forgiving wire. Alien wire is not forgiving. Not at all forgiving. If the wire backs up on itself, you've got maybe 1-2 tries max to pull the wire out, and then that section is deformed and you can't really use it anymore. It won't work. So don't make too many mistakes. And I can sort of see, it's a blurred thing of wire flying in my vision here. I can't really see exactly what's going on, but by the way that the color of the wire, by the density of the wire looks when it's waving back and forth like that, I can usually tell it's looking pretty good. And I'll speed up more and I'll speed up more, and then I'll speed up a bit too fast, and that wire will all start to go to hell again. So with me, I still struggle to find that right level of speed and control. Ultimately, this is what we're looking at. This is a finished alien wire, ready to go. It's definitely got spots where it's got problems, where something went haywire here, where, here at the beginning, getting it started, in the middle, where we messed it up a bit, at the end, where it all went to hell. But ultimately, we've got enough for 2 coils here, 5 wraps each, which was my goal. I wanted 5 wrap alien coils for for this first build. That's what I was shooting for. That's what I got. I'm perfectly happy with that. If you look closely at one of those coils, the leads on one of the coils, they're a little bit messed up with the wire too. Just the leads though. I mean, as long as the coil's okay, I'm fine with it. All right, the leads can be a little bit messed up. I can get over that. I'm vaping this. You know, I'm not selling this. I'm not giving this to anyone. This is for me. All right, so as long as those coils are okay, the leads can be as funky as they want to be. I don't really care. From there, we're going to go ahead and mount this coil in the Goon RDA. I got sitting up here on the Coil Master. This is Blue Eyed Goon's RDA, guys, made by Blue Eyed Goon and 528 Custom Vapes. And I got to tell you, it's the easiest deck to build on ever. The easiest deck ever. But that's another day. That's for the review. Let's go ahead and build this guy. So just like with most other wire, and definitely with exotic wire, I like to go very, very slow heating up this wire. I like to work out the hot spots very, very slowly. I don't pulse for more than a split second at a time when I'm first starting out. If you see, there are these hot spots that come up, look like little lightning bolts going through the wire sometimes. I want to be very, very careful of those, because those can basically fry that wire. It can definitely cause a problem when I'm shaping my wire. Before I start tweezing my wires, I'm strumming my wires. I'm using the screwdriver and pulling on the wires. I'm jimmying the screwdriver in and out of the wires. I'm just making sure that that wire has time to adjust to the heat, time to adjust to being pulsed with that power before I give it more power and longer power. And eventually, it's glowing up nice and even. And we've got our alien coils built. And we're ready to enjoy the fruits of our labor. We'll go ahead, we'll wick this coil really quick. I'm wicking with some cotton bacon today. Juice it on up. Pop the top cap on. I'll see you guys up top side. We'll vape on it. We'll talk about it.
Well, YouTube, that is how I build my alien coils, and I'm not the best at them. You know, I mean, alien coils are probably among the hardest builds out there for me. I mean, certain tricks along the way, you know, using the swivel tools in that fashion, making sure that the wires are aligned properly in the bit before you start, making a spool of that decored stretched wire before you start, using the first inch or so as a throwaway and pressing that wire to straighten it out so that all three cores are aligned. Also, you know, basically if you see a wire starts to back up on itself, you got to act quick. Pull it out. You get about 1 or 2 shots max pulling it out. If you can't straighten out the alien wire going onto the 3 cores, after that, basically just got to move on and hope that you've aliened enough, that you've made enough for a single coil there, and that there's enough wire in front of you that you can make enough for a second. That's what gets me through to the end usually. Without those little tricks thrown in there, I can't make my way through the strand. And I don't have enough for a dual coil. I might have enough for a single coil, but that's as far as I can get without those tricks. I mean, there are people out there that can do aliens in 10 minutes, and those are professional builders. I'm no professional builder. I'm an amateur at best. But people have asked me, how I do them. They want to see me do them because I'm not a professional builder. I'm an amateur, and they want to see how the amateur handles it. So I thought it was time that I put up that tutorial. Anyway, they make for a great, flavorful coil. Excellent build, any way you slice them. I love Alien coils, and they maintain really, really well. In terms of maintaining your Alien coils, basically, when you're done using them, when you're done with that RDA for a while, take out your cotton, clean off the coils, burn them off, and once they're cool, either take them out of the RDA, and you can use them again and again, remount them in other RDAs. I reuse my Aliens over and over again because they're a bitch to build. They really are. They're not easy. They are very, very challenging. They can be very, very difficult, and I don't always get them on the first try. Sometimes I, try building an Alien and it all goes to shit pretty quick. So when I build one, I make sure that I get a lot of use out of it. I've reused them time and time again. I maintain them. I burn them off, clean them, store them. If I'm going to leave them in the RDA, I do not leave them with wet cotton. I will take the cotton out, burn it off, store the RDA built with the Alien coils somewhere where they're not going to go sour, where they're not going to rust. I can vape in the same Alien coil over and over and over again. The first Alien coils that I ever made, months ago, I still have them. I still use them. That's what's nice about them, because they maintain really, really well. Better than other wire. Clapton wire, for example. Clapton wire, you use it a couple times, and then it's gotten to the point where that wire has become more oxidized. That wire has become kind of rusty pretty quick. And fused Claptons as well, they don't go quite as fast as regular Claptons, but they do age. Alien coils, as long as you maintain them, they last a really long time for some reason. I think it has to do with the waves of the wire, the way that gunk does not adhere to them so well. They don't get gunky very easy. Mounted them up in the Goon RDA. It's the first build I put in this RDA. Had to. It's the Goon. The blue-eyed Goon, man. He made the Alien. So it was the only thing I could put in here for a first build. It's a great, great build. It's a great RDA. Anyway, guys, till next time, I'm your homeboy Josh. Vape on, vapors.